School day is going to be back before we know it. We've been talking about it all morning long. Is your child ready to stay alert, though, in class? Or is he or she dealing possibly with something more serious? We're going to break down the facts about ADHD with our expert in just a few minutes. Students are going to be back in the classroom in just a few weeks from now. After the summer high wears off, some may begin to show signs of a problem that could make learning more difficult as the years and the days progress, unless they receive the right treatment. We're talking right now about ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Jim West specializes in treating children with ADHD, and joining us this morning, he's a licensed mental health counselor with Total Life Counseling Center. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Heidi.
Let's start off with ADHD. I think a lot of people joke about it. Their kids are jumping off the couch, they're running around acting crazy. But
Right.
How do you know when they really need help and that's maybe what their problem is? They're not just acting like a kid or just acting like a boy.
Right. Well, it is tough sometimes. There's a lot of things that play into a child overacting in a classroom. They could have anxiety, there could be problems going on at home, there could be domestic violence that we just don't know about, and they can be acting that out. That's one scenario. But the other thing is if the child's acting out more, significantly more, then that maybe it would be worth it to talk to their doctor, do some blood work, do some other tests before suspecting that it might be ADHD.
What's the best way to go about it? For parents who are listening right now, you listed off a lot of things. What's the best tell-all that this really is a problem with ADHD and not just them acting up?
Sure. Well, there's the hyperactivity, there's impulse control, they're blurting out answers in the classroom, they're constantly forgetting things, the teacher's giving them instructions and they're not listening, they are losing their pens, their pencils, they're in a daze, oftentimes daydreaming, so they're falling behind academically. That's one sign sometimes. Sometimes they can actually focus but then be hyperactive. So they can actually get good grades but then be under the desk or up on top of the desk or all around the classroom. So it can be, it's usually going to be more pronounced than a typical, if it's a third grade boy, yes, they're going to have activity levels. It's hard for them to sit in a classroom. So if it's but if they're acting out more than the other third grade boys, then it would be a good idea to get an assessment done.
So what would be the fix? I think a lot of people listen to this and they think, I don't want to pop a pill. That's not the answer to all my questions. Are there other options, or really is it medication the answer to fixing this?
Well, that's a good question. ADHD is neurobiological. So there's a neurological piece, a brain, and then there's the biological. So sometimes just by changing how we eat can affect the biological, and increasing protein, decreasing carbs. Kids with ADHD and anxiety crave carbohydrates, which makes them very hyper and then makes them
crash.
Right, they crash, and they crash mentally. So they can still be physically active but not focus mentally. So the way they eat can help. I know Dr. Oz talked about the yellow food coloring in goldfish. There's pesticides in some of the different foods that can cause those symptoms. So ruling out that first is a good thing to do before going the medication route. And that's one of the things that we specialize in.
Does counseling help at all with this? Or is it really more just dealing with your body and what you're feeding it and also what you're taking in?
The parents come into my office and they have been raked through the coals. Everybody's giving them advice. You need to spank the kid more. You need to give him more consequences. You're not doing enough. You're just letting them get away with things. And so I tell these parents, if they have ADHD, that the parenting skills they have work for 95% of kids, but their child's in the other 5%. And they need a different approach. And so parent coaching is very important as well.
All right, a lot of things that go into this.
Sure.
And again, you say go to your doctor if you think you have questions and concerns before you do anything else.
Right. Rule out some allergies. Rule out, look at your tonsils. There was a Fox News study, Fox study that was done 2 years ago, where a group of children that had ADD symptoms, half of the kids no longer had it when they had their tonsils removed. Now, again, I don't recommend you go get your tonsils taken out, but get that checked out too. There's all kinds of things, and that's one of the things that we do as counselors is we can rule those things out first.
All right, so thinking about the whole body as you go into it.
Sure.
Jim West, some great advice for parents as those kids go back to school from Total Life Counseling Center. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.